Welcome back.
BigRobsVan is cruising down the old dirt road.
I need to get 2 cheeseburgers and a large coffee with 3 cream and 3 Splenda. Yeah. That's it. You know, it's lunchtime, and normally I wouldn't get a coffee, but my subscriber, Tim, just bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com. So, Tim, even though... oops. I just hit my horn for no reason. This horn is sensitive. So, Tim, this coffee and that honk on Big Rob's horn is for you. So, thank you for the coffee. I should probably stop waving my credit card right in front of the camera. May have to blur that out. If you would like to buy me a coffee for Big Rob's Van, check out the link below. That is buymeacoffee.com/BigRobsVan. Not only will I buy a coffee, I'll honk the horn for you. Hey, let's start a new tradition. Anytime somebody buys me a coffee, not only will I have the coffee, but you'll get a little honk from Big Rob's horn, which I just realized sounds really awkward. Hey, how are you? Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day. All right, thank you. Coffee-san. I've got to stop watching Nomad Push. Thank you, Coffee-san. Well, hello. It's been a minute since you've seen me and since I've seen you. So if you are new to the channel, my name is Rob. We are in Big Rob's van, and I have been away on vacation. And I want to talk about the vacation real quick. Now, this is a funny story. I wanted to record a video here in this park. This is a park near my house. Oklahoma is notoriously flat, but in this park there is a big giant hill in the middle called Boot Hill. And I thought it would be really fun to go up on top of the hill and shoot a video from there. And so I did that yesterday. And yesterday, between the time I left my house and the time I got here to the park, I don't know if you call it a windstorm, but winds picked up and we were experiencing 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. And so although the footage is fine, the audio is not. And so I decided to come back out here today and try it again. And today the park is full. There are cars all around me. On the other side, there are people coming and going. There are kids playing in the park. There are people walking around on the park. And that's what parks are for. I don't have any problem with that. But there are people up on top of Boot Hill that are just kind of hanging out. And even stranger, there's appears to be a dog photo shoot happening at the top of the hill. So maybe that was not meant to be. But that's okay. I've got some other fun adventures planned for today, some other stuff to go see and do. So I think I will be doing that. So anyway, where have I been? Well, funny that you should ask, and some of you did ask, and I appreciate that. So to all the people who reached out and said, hey, where are you? Left comments or sent emails or something. You know, someone, I don't know, I don't know if people want their names mentioned, but somebody sent me an email, and when I told him where we had been, he apologized he said, oh, you know, well, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I don't know, I guess he's apologized, but never apologize. I love emails. I love when people, you know, it's such a great feeling to know that people watch the channel, watch the videos, and we're wondering where I am. So don't apologize for that at all. My email is right here at the bottom of the video. My email is BigRobsVan at gmail.com. And of course, you know, I have the Instagram set up. I have Patreon. And for the people that follow or are subscribed on Patreon, I was posting vacation pictures and telling stories and some videos and stuff. So if you are a Patreon member, you already know most of where I've been. So anyway, this year, last year I turned 50 years old. This year is my 30th wedding anniversary. My wife and I met in middle school. Didn't see each other for a couple of years after high school, and then we met back up, and one thing led to another, and we got married in 1995. This is 2025, 30 years later. I can't believe it. 30 years, and we always make little jokes. You know, people ask me if we're ever together. People say, how long have you been married? I go, it's been about 800 years. You know, I love fun jokes like that. But the reality is, I married my best friend. I married somebody who makes me laugh every day, who I make laugh every day. There's an old saying that if you are the smartest person in the room, you might be in the wrong room. And my wife gives me a run for my money every day. We watch Jeopardy together. We brainstorm things together. She is... I almost said as smart as me. What I mean is she's 10 times smarter than I am. So we are living our best lives together, and she wanted to plan a 30th anniversary trip. So our anniversary is not until later in the summer, but we went ahead and planned this trip. It coincided with something. So what happened is a year or two ago, we took a cruise together, and we spent... we won some money in the casino, and we put the money right back into the casino. So we left with what we came with. We, you know, their computers and stuff identified us as a high roller in the casino. But that's not really true. Really, what we are is dummies who won some money and gave it right back to them. We left with the same amount of money we went with. So we were happy. I guess they were happy. And because of that, they offered us a free cruise. They've been offering us free cruises, and then they offer you additional benefits that are only available in the casino. So it seems like they want to get us back in the casino. So anyway, because of this free trip, my wife said, let's add some things onto that trip. And so what happened was, in the middle of March, we hopped on an airplane. We flew from Oklahoma to London. When we got to London, we got to ride the London Eye. We got to go see the Tower of London, where the crown jewels are. We got to visit Westminster Abbey. I got to go to the Jack the Ripper Museum. One of my favorite things was having a traditional English breakfast. My wife did not like me eating that many beans. But we did so many things. Oh, we also went to the Ted Lasso pub, the pub that is featured in Ted Lasso. We had a great time doing that. But eventually what we did was hop on the Eurostar. So after only 2 days in London, we hit the Eurostar and we ended up in Paris, where we took a tour of the Seine River from a boat. We went past a lot of places like Notre Dame and the Louvre that we didn't get to go in, but we did get to see a few things in Paris, like Napoleon's tomb. And when we were done, then we went to the Eiffel Tower, where we went up inside or up into the Eiffel Tower, and we had a dinner. My wife had reserved a table next to the window so we could see all of Paris. It was absolutely beautiful, but we weren't there for very long, because after a couple days in Paris, we hopped on the train once again. We went 8 hours, and we went to Barcelona, Spain. Now, and I didn't say this up front, but I have never been across the Atlantic Ocean. I have only spent time in America, with a little bit of just a very, very brief trips to Canada, and then brief trips to Mexico, mostly on cruises. So this was all a first for me. We got to Barcelona, and then we had a private tour guide, like a tour, like on tour or TripAdvisor, that we had hired, who gave us a whirlwind trip of Barcelona. We got to go to the, I think it's called the Church of the Sacred Heart. I will put the real name down there. I forget the name, but it's the oldest church in Barcelona. They started building it in the 1800s. It's still not done. It is a magnificent sight to behold. It is breathtaking, actually, to see. We also, while we were in Barcelona, we got to go see the Olympic Stadium that was built for the 1992 Olympics. You might remember the scene where they lit the torch, the Olympic torch, by lighting a arrow on fire and shooting a bow and arrow and it launching into the cauldron and lighting the torch. So that, we got to go see that. We got to see a lot of stuff. Just an absolutely gorgeous town, Barcelona. I would love to go back there. We also had a tapas-style lunch where you order a bunch of different little plates, and everybody tries little plates and stuff, which was great. One funny story is while we were in the restaurant, up against the wall, encased in glass, they had a Route 66 sign. And when our server came over, I said, we're from Route 66. And she was like, oh, Route 66? And I go, yeah. We live on Route 66. Route 66 is Main Street in my town. And I wasn't sure that she got it. And then I opened up my phone and I pulled up the picture of me in front of the giant Route 66 sign that I had seen. And she thought we were famous or from Hollywood. She could not believe, that we had actually been to Route 66, much less live on Route 66. In fact, later our tour advisor or tour guide said to me, and he was French, but had relocated to Barcelona. And he said, by the way, every impersonation and accent I do is terrible. But he said, I do not understand. He says, I had some people here last week on a tour. They were from St. Louis, and they said they were from Route 66. And his name was David. And I said, David, Route 66 is a very long road. It goes from California to Chicago. A lot of people live on Route 66. And he goes, I think later that evening he probably went and looked up on a map to see exactly where Route 66 goes. But anyway, very brief time. And then we were whisked away from there to our ship where we got on a cruise ship, which was waiting for us in Barcelona, not just for us, for another 1,000 people. And this was a strange cruise for us because this is called a relocation cruise. So they're moving the cruise ship from one place to another to prepare for something else. So they were moving the ship. It had been in dry dock for a month and a half, 45 days in Barcelona, and they were moving it to Miami to get ready for spring break cruises. So there's a lot of things going against this cruise for most people that take cruises. Number one, it's a one-way cruise. It's going from Spain to Miami. So you're going to have to fly to at least one of those places, maybe to both. Additionally, it was a 2-week-long cruise. So not everybody could take 2 weeks off of work. I took 3 weeks off of work for this vacation, which is the longest time I've taken off of work in my entire career. When my kids were born, I took 2 weeks off. So I took more time off for this vacation. And it was a couple of weeks before, spring break. So kids are in school. So it's a very unique, clientele that could take this cruise. I believe this cruise ship, we were on the Carnival Spirit. I think it holds, I'll have to check, but I think it holds around 2,000 passengers, give or take. But it was less than half capacity. So if you've ever been on a cruise, we've been on many cruises that were completely filled. You couldn't find a place to sit. You were waiting in line for everything. Waiting for elevators was terrible. And on this ship, there was nobody around. We would go to the elevators, and we were the only people there, which if you've ever been on a cruise, you're going to go, that's impressive. If you've not been on a cruise, that might not sound impressive. But normally on a cruise ship, when you go to the elevators, you might have to wait 3 or 4 times for the elevators, to go by. Often if it's less than 3 floors, it's much quicker to just take the stairs. So for there to be elevators accessible all the time was definitely a unique experience. On the cruise ship, we made 4 more stops. We stopped in Malaga, Spain, which is the birthplace of Pablo Picasso. We stopped in Cadiz, Spain, which is where we got it's not wine, I almost said wine tasting, a sherry tasting event at Tío Pepe. Tío Pepe is my new favorite. Not only is it they make a pretty good sherry, they also make a real good brandy. But that has also become my new G-rated curse word. When I stub my toe now, I go, Tío Pepe. So I love Tío Pepe. It was a real fun day. And of course, at all these places, we got time to explore, to go around these cities and stuff. Just fantastic places. Then the ship went from there to the Azores Islands, which are they are owned by Portugal. And we just had a great time. We got to see, it is an island where all these three tectonic plates meet in the ocean, and it just shoved them all up and made this little island. And this is actually it's a dormant volcano, and down in the middle of the volcano are two craters with two different lakes that are side by side. One is called the Blue Lake and one is the Green Lake. And it's because the way they reflect the light, one reflects all the greenery, and it's looked like Lord of the Rings. It looked like something from another world, just how green and beautiful this place was. But one of the lakes reflects the green off of all that, and the other one reflects the blue from the sky. So even though they're side by side, and we went all the way up to the top. I don't know how many thousands of feet we were up, but looking down into these two pools. And then we went all the way down into, like, not in the lakes, but next to the lakes. There's this town, this old town, a population of 800 people. And we got to just walk around the town, and people were out and about. We stopped by this store. Actually, there's a funny story because I was looking for something unique, a food thing to try here. We went into this little convenience store, and they had ketchup-flavored Ruffles. Now, I've never had or even heard of ketchup-flavored potato chips, but I bought a bag as a kind of a novelty and something funny. And I will tell you, I tried the first one of those chips, and it was delicious. We finished this bag of Ruffles. We had most of it before we even got back to the cruise ship. And I told my wife, I said, I'd never heard of ketchup-flavored chips, but when we get back, I'm ordering some. And I went on Amazon, looked up ketchup-flavored Ruffles, and it says Portugal exclusive. I said, oh no, it costs $35 a bag if you want to ship them to the United States, and it's probably due to tariffs and other things going on. That price is going to go up, so I'll never have ketchup-flavored Ruffles again. I did order a can. I found a can. So apparently, I didn't know this, but ketchup-flavored potato chips are popular in Canada. They are not popular in the United States. I don't know anybody in the United States that's ever had a ketchup-flavored potato chip. And so I ordered a can of ketchup-flavored Pringles, which I thought might be the same, and it had two strikes. Number one, it did not taste the same at all, and number two, I was delivered a can full of what used to be potato chips, but was now many, many fragments of potato chips. So anyway, the Azores Islands, absolutely amazing. And then our final stop was Bermuda, another place that I have never been. And we got to go on a boat tour where they showed us all these, amazing houses, all these things, just a, kind of a sightseeing tour on the water through Bermuda. And then at the end, we went to a little, we went to a restaurant in Bermuda, which was fantastic. And they had American style food, and it might seem silly to go on this huge trip and then have American food. I had nachos, and my wife had a burger, but it had been so long. It had been almost 3 weeks since I had nachos or anything. So we had that. While we were eating, a rooster walked up to our table. We were sitting in this courtyard outside, so that was different. Then we went for a walk around the town, and then we found this little convenience store there, and we actually bought some cans of Coke, because if you've ever been on a cruise, cans of Coke, if you buy a Coke, it's like $4 or $5. It's super expensive. And London and Paris and Spain, Coke, it's just kind of a luxury there. It's not like here where you have Coke. My wife and I probably have Cokes at every meal, So diet. We drink a lot of Diet Pop. I have a Diet Dr. Pepper right here. But so yeah, it was. And then, I didn't mention this, but when we went to the that little outlet mall thing that we had went to, there was a reason we were going there, and my wife had found this on a map. But inside there is a big marker, and it says this is the official marker of the northernmost point of the Bermuda Triangle. So that was pretty cool. By the way, when the cruise was over, we went to Miami and we went to the westernmost point of the Bermuda Triangle. So I've been to 2 of the 3. I believe the third is in Puerto Rico. So we may have to plan a cruise and head there in a year or two. So I could say I've been to all 3 points of the Bermuda Triangle. So, I can tell you a million things about the cruise ship, but cruise ships are cruise ships. We spent a lot of time in the casino. In fact, we spent so much time in the casino that we are already getting offers for our next free tour. The next one they're offering us is another one-way tour. This one, or cruises, this one is from Rome to Tampa, Florida. I don't know that we could afford another vacation. This was really like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of vacation. People ask us sometimes, they're like, how can you afford a vacation like this? And then my wife said, I planned it last year. We've been making payments on things and saving up for an entire year. So, that was kind of how we did it. So anyway, here's the takeaway of all that stuff. I have spent the past 2 weeks telling everybody I know about our vacation. I told my mom, I told my dad, I've told my friends on the phone, I've sent emails, I've been doing blog posts on my regular website, which is robohara.com. I've been posting stuff on both of my Patreons, my Patreon for my other podcasts and stuff, and my Patreon for BigRobsVan. It just seems like I've told the same stories over and over and over and over, and people ask questions. Everybody wants to ask questions, and they ask, what was the food like? What did you see? Did you meet fun people? All this kind of stuff. But here's what nobody has asked me. Nobody has asked me things like, what color was the cruise ship? Or what were your cabinets like in the cruise ship, or what was it made out of? Or, all those things that are just like what the cruise ship, how it was made. You know what I mean? Same thing for the Eurostar. We were on a train that went 180 miles an hour. It was a really cool experience, especially someone here from the States who I only get to go on trains when I go to other cities. I've ridden trains, of course, in New York City and Chicago and places like that. But we don't really have trains here. We have no trains here for transportation. And so, that was just a cool experience. But nobody was like, oh, what's, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of bolts? That's not the stuff that was interesting. And more important, that's not the stuff that was really that interesting to tell, And so as I had a lot of time to think on this cruise. And of course I was thinking like, what am I going to do when I get back? What am I going to do? Like, what's next for BigRobsVan, And I'm looking through, I have a couple more build style videos in the shoot. I'm almost done. I was almost done with my storage. I'm building a new storage, I don't know what you call it, storage unit, I suppose. And I've got some videos. I got to finish that, and I'll put that in there, But I think, me personally, I think something that I do is I really enjoy the idea of van life. I'll never be a full-time van life guy, but I do love the part-time. I love getting out and doing all these things and going to places and doing my stealth camps. And, all that stuff is a lot of fun to me. But as I look through my videos that I've made and stuff, the ones that I've been doing, and especially the ones I've been doing lately where I'm working on the van, it feels like I'm stalling. It feels like I'm doing that instead of going and going out and doing something. You know what I mean? And that was never really the point of the van, And so I'm not saying that I won't ever do a build video again, and I like doing build videos. But I guess this is what I'm saying, is that, the point of the van was to go out and go do stuff. Like, that was always the point of the van, and that's what I want to start doing with the van. I want to start doing more of, those type videos. And really, as I look around, I feel like the van is done. And you could say on one hand, you could say the van is never done. Like the vans are never done. There's always something to do. There's always something that's broken. There's always something that needs repair. There's always something that needs upgraded. There's always something that can be tweaked and do all that stuff. You know what I mean? But I don't want that to be the only thing. But as far as being a functional thing of like what I imagined when I started all this, like what did I imagine? I imagined something that was roadworthy enough that I could drive it somewhere, which is what I have. Something I could sleep in, which is what I have. Something that I could refrigerate food in and cook food, and I have those things. And something, you know, with some sort of entertainment options, you know, to kill time. Like, I have all those things. Now, again, could they be tweaked? Could they be upgraded? Could, you know, yeah, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for change or whatever. But at some point, you got to say, I'm going to quit doing that instead of. That's what I'm looking for. It's doing that instead of having the adventures. So, adventures await. And that's where we are headed next. So, I do want to, I don't even know if I want to commit to this on this video, but there was something I tried to do a while back where I was going to start doing 2 videos a week. And I may try to do that. If I do that, one will be in the van and one's going to be me talking about something, you know, whether it's going to be answering questions or, you know, my thoughts on something or whatever. But I think there's going to be, you know, a 1-2 kind of thing. And I'd like to turn up the output a little bit on BigRobsVan, which is a big thing to say from a guy who hasn't posted a video in a month, right? But, brought to you by Diet Dr. Pepper. So that's where we are. So I was glad yesterday that I used the van to go out and go climb Boot Hill and go up there, and I had a good time. The video itself, you know, didn't pan out, but great views up there. I'm learning. I even was made sure to get a good shot of me with BigRobsVan in the background. So the geese are back too. The geese are showing up for BigRobsVan. So yeah, so that's where we are. I'm back in Oklahoma. The van's doing fine. It definitely is in kind of shambles at the moment with, you know, things I've pulled out and stuff like that. But we'll put her all back together, and we're going to hit the road, and we're going to have some fun adventures. So thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for all the support you guys have given me. Thanks to all my patrons who are over at patreon.com/BigRobsVan. All my patrons saw all my vacation videos and stuff like that. If you want to go see them, go over there and sign up. There's actually a free tier that I'm offering right now where you can see right now you can see everything that's been on the site. So if you want to go see that stuff, that's great. Thanks to everybody who reached out while I was gone. Every now and then I need a kick in the pants to get things moving again, and that's where we are now. So speaking of moving, I think we're going to have to get out of here. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you here next time on the next episode of BigRobsVan. No way that tripod's going to stay steady up. I'm not even going to make it out of the parking lot without standing up. BigRobsVan is cruising. Yep.
Weren't as good as crack the whip and make it snap while the horse goes I'm at sway.
Where do they go? I don't think it ever stops.
I don't think it stops either.
Where are we, Rob? We're the eye, the London eye.
Are you happy about it?
No,
Did I ask you if you wanted to do it?
no, on the London eye.
Look, that is Buckingham Palace. No, that's Westminster Abbey in the background. But he did it. Because I just walked up and said, here's the tickets. Sometimes you have to do it. The London Eye.
Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
Got it.
So you got it?
Yeah.
Hey friends, what's going on?
Bonjour, mademoiselle, messieurs. Comment allez-vous aujourd'hui?
Stop.
And you know, if you have a family with 2 children, 3 children, you have 1 or 2 cars, of course it's going to be always more interesting. Look at in front of us, the nice photo.
So we are in a little town in the Azores Islands. We've driven down into the caldera of a volcano. It's beautiful. I'm just going to panoramic for a second. And we're in the little city center. This little town in the caldera only has population 800. And we think they have 1 store right here. And Rob and I love to go in and look at brands that are from different countries and stuff like that. So today we're trying Ruffles Sabor a Ketchup. Ketchup-flavored, probably just tomato Ruffles. What do you think of them, Rob?
It does taste like ketchup. Almost tastes like pizza sauce.
Can we see inside the bag? It's basically only tomato, no other spices.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't had any potato chips on the ship at all. They don't make them there. So I told Rob when we got off I wanted to get some potato chips. And then Rob is trying also a Fanta with 0 sugar. And we bought a big bottle of Coke, no sugar, for the ship because they only sell Pepsi products. So I'm gonna try a little sip. How do we say thank you in Portuguese, Rob? Obrigada?
Obrigado.
I don't know. And yeah, Christina, you know, obrigada, I think. Bye.
All right. I'm watching out the back of the window. I want to watch It doesn't look as dramatic through the window, but
You gotta zoom out a little bit and get a panoramic of it.
yeah, it's just that it's so bright. Also, it looks like I'm filming people having breakfast. There's all the way down, and then all the way up. It almost feels like G-forces, you know? Mm-hmm. Say good morning.
Buenos dias, as Rob would say. Right?
No, I said buenos dias.
Bonjour. As Rob
Hello.
would say. As Rob would say, and then his own Rob dialect. Hello.
Susie, what is this area called?
The Spirit Lobby.
Spirit Lobby? There's the elevators. And there they go. Up, 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 up. To the top of the Spirit.
Protest. All kinds of protests. protest is over.